together.
Did you guys hear that? Yes? By numbers, they're coming together. Anyone else?
Yeah, I guess maybe like the turning your back on oppression together in order to work towards some better future.
Interesting. Yeah, they've turned away from us. That's funny. One more comment? No? What do you guys think?
If they're looking forward for a reason, is that for... Well, it's more like oppression in the past, moving forward to a better future.
The way that they're featured here is really important. Excellent. Okay, so let's take a look at your second image, if you don't mind, and we'll figure out how they got from that first image of oppression to that third image. Where's your dad? All right, so what do you see here?
I feel like
let's just start with just what you see, and then we'll move into interpretation. So what do you actually
I see his hands are tied. He's tied. He's tied.
So arms crossed.
Arms crossed. And
okay. Ready?
Oh,
like, look, you just opened them a little.
they're coming apart.
Coming apart, all right.
Like he's a savior or something. He's coming in.
So what do you see about him that makes you start to think that?
His arms are coming apart. His hands is resting on his shoulder. It represents not
a contact.
It's contact. It's
All right. What else do we see?
Almost angelic.
What else do we see them doing? I see this face turned away from the audience and these eyes looking up. What do other people see physically?
I don't know, reaching out for a source, something, looking up for strength or...
Looking up for strength, okay. So what do you think is the transition here? What's happening in this image that's going to get them to the turning around?
I mean, I guess they're resisting in a sense, or they're coming out of
their bondage or their shackles.
Yeah, they're breaking their chains.
Breaking their chains because the next is they're coming together. Like he's coming in and he's unshackling them, and at the next one they're coming together.
Yes.
He's the one with his hand up.
Yes. This contact maybe is really significant.
Yeah, the contact, yes.
And remember, they were all in the same situation before.
Yes.
So what do you think has happened here?
Someone, because I remember the first transition, they were all the same way. Someone took a step forward.
Okay.
He took that step, that leap to take them, and he decided, I'm going to do it, and we're going to do it together.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, thank you. You can relax. Thank you so much. And here's one thing you guys. Here are interpretations.
You're right. It was pretty spot on. It was a little hard to hear in the back tone on the first part, but from what I gathered, people, yeah, they definitely got the gist of what we're doing. Yeah.
All right. How did it feel to be that character that took a stand or that changed something?
No, I think that's important. I mean, that's the discussion we were all having. It's like, this should be the releaser, and it's like we can all do it. Any one of us could have been in. We just needed to take a stand and do it.
And how did you guys feel being the ones that didn't make that first step, but then joined?
I was very happy he was here.
Okay.
He made all the difference.
Good.
I was thankful I didn't need my head stacked straight up any longer.
Should we hear your quote? Do you feel like reading it?
Yeah. Oh, now we want to know.
Oh yeah, you don't know yet. So if you can speak as loud as you can.
They spared no one, erecting especially wide gibbets on which they could string their victims up with their feet just off the ground and then burn them alive, 13 at a time, in honor of our Savior and the 12 apostles. Las Casas, the history of the Indies.
Right. So that's from the same source. So let's just quickly, anyone want to say anything about that experience?
Columbus did this, burnt the Indians alive.
Any responses to the experience of those three images?
I thought it was really interesting doing it, not knowing what we were doing. You know, because a lot of the times, like, you're not sure. Like, even a lot of times when you're dealing with problems, you don't even know what the problem is, and like you still have to move forward with that and figure something out. It was a powerful experience.
And
thinking from maybe a student's perspective, embodying something before I read the primary source gives that much more of a vivid reality to what the quote is describing.
I also think that we as a culture tend to look at whatever the common knowledge is first before actually trying to understand what happened. So we get all these stories and then we're kind of, I guess, jaded by what happened there versus just saying, let's just find out what happened originally and then read what the interpretation was. And we have this one interpretation that's popular, but we have this one that was in our pockets, and that's a history that isn't told very often.
Or at all.
At all.
Or at all.
What was the experience like for you seeing both sets?
Yeah, I like the idea where, you know, it was embodying the quote and it made the quote that more realistic, more real than it is a story. So if you would have read a quote, I'm like, oh, that's a quote. But actually seeing, you know, them in action, words in action, it does a lot for me. A lot for me.
And which image was the hardest to create, I wonder, from you guys?
I think clearly the transition, you know what you're against and you know what you want to see happen. What do you have to do to get there is the crux of almost every problem-solving thing that you do in life.
Right. That was the hardest one for me too. The middle one, to figure out how to release all the men and the ladies from the burning. How to make that happen.
I think for me it was actually the third image, because, you know, for us, I mean, we had a lot of violence in ours. So it was kind of deciding, you know, were we really going to arrest these, you know, settler colonialists, or were we going to try to somehow have a dialogue where they actually negotiated and came to some kind of consensus? So, and, you know, we had decided with going with the arrest. So I think that was kind of difficult. The second stage was easy for us because it was just fighting back. You know what I mean? So in a sense, it came naturally from that first image.
So there was a question in your group about what is the right solution?
Yeah.
Okay, and how did you guys have that dialogue? How did that go?
Unspokenly.
We didn't speak the second time?
No,
We spoke.
I guess we struggled for a little bit over just trying to talk about what we should do. So then we just each took moments, I guess, trying to demonstrate more of what we thought the best solution would be. And we all put our hands behind our back, and it kind of made sense. So we just stood there. That kind of just came naturally as well.
That's interesting in terms of thinking about a lot of the media critiques of what's happening right here. So much is like, well, what do they want? What's happening? What do they want? What is going to be the end goal? And I think from what I'm witnessing is that what people are really embracing is that dialogue, that is the process. And it's okay if we don't know, we don't have the solution yet. We're testing things out.
Can I go on that?
Yeah.
So my in-laws are in town who are very conservative, evangelical types. And they were curious to come see this. And so my father-in-law's grilling me, so what do they want? What do they want? What do they want? I'm like, well, I think the point is the dialogue. And I brought him here last night into the art show, and he saw it and was totally transformed by it. Wow. Like, totally embraced it. Yeah. He left with that t-shirt.
Will they vote that way?
What?
Will they vote that way?
Working on that. Well, his point of view, I mean, this is a guy who voted for Bush twice, but he didn't vote for a candidate last election because he didn't see a difference between the two on kind of social economic issues. You know, he has his kind of abortion views, and I'm not going to change that. But he's just as interested in ending inequality, but he doesn't see an option, anyone who does that, between the candidates.
And when you say we vote that way, when you ask will it vote that way, who should they vote for? What is the choice that we have?
Right now,
That's my
it's hard to
question.
say that. We're hoping to push the Democrats have
So if you give that answer, we are all done with them.
well, but
That's the problem.
if you splinter